When Ray Kroc took over McDonald's from the McDonald brothers, he used a handshake agreement to promise them a 1% royalty forever. But he never paid them a single cent. The brothers got crushed while Ray built a billion-dollar empire. Was this evil? Absolutely. But here is what is fascinating. Ray understood something about power that most men never learn. Rich men never beg, they invite. The wealthy operate by completely different rules than everyone else. They never reduce themselves to asking for favors. They never explain themselves when they make demands, and they certainly never compromise their position to make others comfortable. While average men are learning how to ask nicely, rich men are mastering the art of making others compete for their attention. You can have the finest suits, the luxury watch, the premium car, but if you still ask for things like a middle manager begging for a promotion, you will be treated like one. Elegance does not ask, it commands. Pause for a moment. Be honest with yourself. Do you want respect, or do you want to keep asking for permission? But this is not about being cruel or heartless. It is about understanding the psychological framework that separates those who get everything they want from those who get the leftovers. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. The world does not reward nice guys. It rewards men who understand leverage. Think about Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. He never asks villains to surrender. He never explains his mission. He simply states what is going to happen and lets others decide whether they want to cooperate or get destroyed. That is not fiction. That is exactly how the ultra-wealthy operate in boardrooms across Manhattan and Monaco. Who explains too much has already lost. Research from Harvard Business School reveals something that will change how you think about influence forever. When men feel their masculinity is being threatened, they become more aggressive in negotiations, rejecting compromise and using hardball tactics to reassert their dominance. But wealthy men have figured out how to channel this aggressive energy without ever appearing desperate or defensive. Take Elon Musk's approach. As he memorably said, "I will say what I want to say, and if we lose money, so be it." Notice what is happening here. He is not asking for permission. He is not seeking approval. He is stating his reality and letting others adjust to it. This is power in its purest form. Men who wait are men who lose. Men who create opportunities are men who win. The first rule wealthy men live by is this. They never position themselves as supplicants. When they want something, they do not ask for it directly. Instead, they create situations where providing what they want becomes the obvious next step for the other person. They understand that people do not want to help someone who needs help. They want to be part of something that makes them look smart, connected, or valuable. Here is how this works in practice. A middle-class man says, "Could you help me with this project?" A wealthy man says, "I am curating a select group of discerning individuals who might find this opportunity intellectually stimulating." Rich men create invitations. Poor men distribute resumes. Notice the difference? The first approach makes you a charity case. The second makes you a curator of excellence. It is the difference between being chosen and doing the choosing. If you have value, you do not ask. You attract. But there is something deeper happening here. Research from the German socio-economic panel found that wealthy individuals score higher on risk tolerance, emotional stability, openness, extroversion, and conscientiousness. But they also score lower on agreeableness, meaning they are less likely to shy away from conflict. This is not an accident. Research shows the less agreeable you are, the richer you tend to become. Coincidence? Absolutely not. Being agreeable might make you likable, but it does not make you rich. The ultra-wealthy understand that in high society, no only comes to those who position themselves poorly. Stop here. Ask yourself, are you positioning yourself as someone who offers value or someone who needs charity? The second rule is about timing and positioning. Wealthy men understand that when you ask for something matters just as much as how you ask for it. They have studied social rhythms, and they know that people are more generous after meals, more decisive before them, and most receptive to new ideas on Tuesday through Thursday mornings between 10 and 11 a.m. But here is where it gets really sophisticated. They practice what behavioral scientists call reciprocity timing. When someone has recently received recognition or experienced success, they are more likely to want to share that positive energy. Rich men notice these moments and position themselves as the natural next step in someone else's success story. Think about how different this is from the average man's approach. Most men wait until they are desperate to ask for what they need. They approach others from a position of weakness, explaining their problems and hoping for charity. Men who have power never explain. They simply decide. Wealthy men do the exact opposite. They approach from a position of abundance, offering others the opportunity to be part of something significant. You are chosen when you make others feel privileged to say yes. Here is a reality check. Are you creating scarcity around yourself, or are you chasing after others like everyone else? The third rule is about language architecture. The vocabulary wealthy men use when they want something is completely different from what you hear in middle-class conversations. They avoid certain phrases entirely because these words immediately signal your social position. They never say, "I need help." Instead, they say, "I would value your perspective on something rather special." They never say, "Can you do me a favor?" Instead, they say, "Would you be interested in collaborating on something I think you would find intellectually engaging?" Rich men speak in invitations. Middle class speaks in requests. Poor men speak in explanations. The difference is not just semantic, it is psychological. The first approach triggers people's resistance. The second triggers their curiosity and desire to be included. Think about Harvey Specter from Suits. He never asks people to work with him. He offers them the opportunity to be associated with excellence, and those who decline, they get replaced. Men who ask are men who hope. Men who invite are men who control. Here is where this gets really interesting. The psychological transition of becoming wealthy alters a person's life goals, personal values, and aspirations to a great extent. This process is both psychological and physiological across all dimensions. Wealthy men do not just think differently about money, they think differently about everything, including how they position themselves in social interactions. Most men have been conditioned to believe that asking for help is humble and admirable. But wealthy men understand that positioning yourself as someone who needs help immediately lowers your status in the eyes of others. When you explain your problems to others, you are training them to see you as inferior. Brutal truth. If you are still explaining why you deserve something, you do not deserve it yet. The fourth rule is about creating scarcity and exclusivity. Rich men understand that people want what they cannot easily have. So when they want something from someone, they make it clear that the opportunity to provide it is limited and selective. They might say something like, "I'm being quite selective about who I work with on this," or "This opportunity is not for everyone." This is not manipulation. It is understanding basic human psychology. People value things more when they feel they have been chosen rather than when they feel they are being asked to choose. Wealthy men create clubs. Average men join them. By creating the perception of selectivity, wealthy men make others feel honored to be included rather than burdened by being asked. Think about the most exclusive restaurants in New York or London. They do not advertise. They do not beg for customers. They create waiting lists and make people compete for reservations. This is how power works in every domain. Question: are you creating demand for your time and attention, or are you giving it away for free? But here is the most important part, and this is what separates truly wealthy men from those who just act wealthy. The super rich are primarily motivated by the pursuit of freedom and independence. They want to decide for themselves whether to work, what work to do, when to work, where to work, and with whom they work. This is not about controlling others. It is about controlling your own circumstances. Rich men buy freedom, poor men sell their time. The fifth rule is about never explaining yourself unless it serves a strategic purpose. Average men feel compelled to justify their requests, explain their reasoning, and provide context for why they want what they want. Wealthy men understand that over-explanation is the language of the insecure. When a wealthy man wants something, he states it clearly and then waits. He does not fill the silence with justifications or apologies. He understands that the person who speaks first in a negotiation often loses, and that explaining yourself too much makes you appear desperate. Silence is power. Words are weakness when used to fill uncomfortable space. This connects to a fundamental principle that wealthy men live by. They never make their problems other people's emergencies. As one successful entrepreneur puts it, build a system so your back is never against the wall. They plan far enough ahead and create enough options that they never have to approach anyone from a position of desperation. Men who plan control their destiny. Men who react beg for mercy. Stop and think. When was the last time you asked for something from a position of strength rather than need? The sixth rule is about graceful exit strategies. Wealthy men always provide elegant pathways for others to decline without social awkwardness. They might say, "I completely understand if your current commitments make this impossible," or "Please feel free to decline if this does not align with your vision." This approach removes pressure and actually increases positive responses because it demonstrates emotional intelligence and respect for boundaries. But more importantly, it subtly communicates that you have other options, which makes you more desirable. People want to be part of things that other people also want to be part of. By making it easy for someone to say no, you paradoxically make them more likely to say yes. This is the psychology of abundance in action. Reality check. Do you make it easy for people to reject you because you know you have other options? Here is something that will blow your mind. Steve Siebold, who spent 26 years interviewing wealthy people, found that the secret to getting rich is not in the mechanics of money, but in the level of thinking that generates it. Wealthy men do not just have more money, they have completely different mental frameworks for how they approach every interaction. The rich do not talk about money, they make money talk for them. The seventh rule is about understanding the difference between price and value. Wealthy people live by the 80-20 principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. They focus on the 20% of requests that could transform their circumstances rather than the 80% that might improve them marginally. This means they are willing to make bigger asks because they understand that the potential return justifies the risk. Average men ask for small favors because they are afraid of rejection. Wealthy men ask for significant opportunities because they understand that successful people respect boldness and ambition. Small requests reveal small thinking. Big requests reveal big potential. Here is your moment of truth. Are you making requests worthy of your potential, or are you playing it safe? The eighth rule is about building systematic leverage. As Siebold found, the world class knows it takes a team to build wealth, and they focus much of their effort on finding the right people to leverage their actions and ideas. Wealthy men do not just ask for individual favors, they build networks of people who are invested in their success. They understand that who you surround yourself with has more effect on your net worth than almost any other factor, so they are constantly positioning themselves to be valuable to valuable people. They do not just take from their network, they contribute to it in ways that make others want to continue being associated with them. In elite circles, you are either adding value or you are being removed. But here is where this gets really sophisticated. Wealthy men understand that the most powerful requests are not requests at all. They are invitations. Instead of asking someone to do something for them, they invite someone to do something with them. The psychological difference is enormous. When you ask someone to help you, you are positioning yourself as inferior and them as superior. When you invite someone to collaborate with you, you are positioning both of you as equals, working towards something mutually beneficial. This shift in framing changes everything about how the other person responds. Fundamental question: are you positioning yourself as an equal or as someone who needs assistance? The ninth rule is about managing the follow-up without appearing desperate. Most men reveal their desperation in how they follow up after making a request. They send reminder emails that sound increasingly desperate, or they modify their original ask to make it easier for the other person to say yes. Wealthy men do the opposite. Their follow-ups never sound pushy or desperate. Instead, they provide updates that make the other person feel included in something important and evolving. They might say, "I thought you would appreciate knowing that the project we discussed has attracted some wonderfully creative minds," rather than, "Have you made a decision about my request?" The first approach makes the person feel like an insider receiving privileged information. The second makes them feel like a decision-maker being pressured. Men who chase lose respect. Men who update maintain intrigue. Critical self-assessment. Do your follow-ups sound like updates from someone successful or reminders from someone needy? The 10th rule is about transforming rejection into future opportunity. As former FBI negotiator Chris Voss discovered, compromise is the worst thing you can do, and the real art of negotiation lies in mastering the intricacies of no, not yes. Wealthy men understand that a no today does not mean a no forever. When they receive a rejection, they respond with such grace that people often remember the interaction more fondly than if they had said yes. They might respond with, "I completely understand, and I appreciate you taking the time to consider it. I hope our paths cross on future endeavors that might be a better fit." This response often leads to unexpected opportunities later because people remember being treated with respect even when they could not help. It also leaves the door open without seeming desperate or manipulative. Men who handle rejection with class earn future opportunities. Men who handle rejection poorly burn bridges forever. But here is the deepest secret of how wealthy men operate. And this is what most people never understand. They genuinely believe that what they are proposing will benefit everyone involved. This is not arrogance or delusion. It is strategic thinking about mutual value creation. As research shows, wealthy people see money as a positive tool that has the power to create freedom and opportunity for themselves and their families, while average people see money as the great oppressor. This fundamental difference in mindset affects every interaction they have. When you approach requests from this mindset, your entire energy shifts. You are not asking for charity or favors. You are proposing collaborations that create elevated experiences for everyone involved. People can sense this difference, and they respond to it accordingly. The wealthy mindset: I am offering you the privilege of contributing to excellence. Final reality check. Do you believe what you are offering genuinely elevates everyone involved? The final rule is about understanding what you do not say. The most sophisticated wealthy men know that true influence lives in the subtext. What you do not say is often more powerful than what you do say. They create space for others to offer what they want rather than directly requesting it. They might mention a challenge they are navigating or an interesting opportunity they are exploring, then allow others to naturally insert themselves into the solution. This technique makes people feel clever and generous when they offer help, rather than obligated and used when help is requested from them. Think about how Tom Ford built his fashion empire. He did not go around begging fashion houses to hire him. He created such an aura of sophistication and excellence that brands competed to be associated with him. He made others feel that working with him was a privilege, not a favor. Here is what happens when you master these techniques. People begin to associate being around you with feeling more sophisticated, more connected, and more valuable. You become someone who elevates every interaction. This is not manipulation. This is understanding human psychology well enough to create situations where everyone feels honored to participate in your success. You become magnetic to the kind of people who can transform your circumstances. Remember, getting what you want without lowering yourself is like conducting an orchestra. You do not demand that each musician play. You create an environment where they want to contribute to something beautiful. When you understand these principles, you will find that doors begin opening that you never even knew existed. People will offer opportunities before you ask for them. Resources will flow toward you naturally, and you will finally understand what it means to move through the world with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly how the social game is played. Master this art, and you will never again feel desperate when you need something. Instead, you will feel like someone offering others the privilege of contributing to excellence. If you want to become the kind of man who commands respect and gets what he wants without ever compromising his dignity, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Leave a like if you are ready to transform your elegance into power and success. Now, I want you to think about this carefully. Everything I have shared with you today comes down to one fundamental shift in mindset. Stop thinking like someone who needs things from others. Start thinking like someone who offers others the opportunity to be part of something significant. The wealthy men I have studied understand that the ability to make sophisticated requests is not just about getting what you want. It's about building a network of people who respect your judgment, appreciate your discretion, and want to be part of your continued elevation. When you shift from asking to inviting, from explaining to implying, from chasing to attracting, everything changes. You stop being someone who hopes for favors and become someone who creates opportunities for mutual elevation. Rich men figured this out a long time ago. They know that the moment you lower yourself to beg, you have already lost the game. But when you position yourself as someone offering value rather than seeking charity, you become magnetic to the kind of people who can transform your circumstances. Your homework is simple, but not easy. Over the next week, pay attention to how you ask for things. Notice when you find yourself explaining, justifying, or apologizing for what you want. Catch yourself in these moments and reframe your approach. Instead of asking for help, offer collaboration. Instead of explaining why you need something, focus on the value that working together would create. Instead of apologizing for taking someone's time, thank them for the opportunity to share something you think they will find interesting. These small shifts in language will begin to change how people perceive you and respond to you. Over time, they will compound into a completely different way of moving through the world. This is how rich men think. This is how they operate. And this is how they get everything they want without ever lowering themselves to beg for it. The difference between wealth and poverty often comes down to this. Wealthy men create opportunities for others to invest in their success. Poor men ask others to solve their problems. Which category do you belong to? More importantly, which category do you want to belong to? The choice is yours, but choose quickly. Every day you spend asking instead of inviting is a day you spend training the world to see you as inferior. Comment below, power over position, if you found value in today's insights. Let me know you are committed to elevating your approach to getting what you want. If you want to support this channel in bringing you more sophisticated perspectives on navigating the world with strategic intelligence, consider becoming a member of our exclusive club, starting at just $4.99 per month. Click the Become a Member button below. Your support allows us to continue exploring the refined psychology of success and influence.